Welcome back to the Repro Review Show. I'm your host Doug, and today we are talking about a ROM hack of a cult favorite NES game. This one is called Fake News Covfefe. Yeah, this happened. Fake News Covfefe is a ROM hack of Zombie Nation on the NES. Zombie Nation is not too well known by the mainstream, but has gathered a cult following and some notoriety as it now commands a pretty hefty price tag on the collector's market. At the point of my writing this, a loose cartridge goes for $335. Complete in box goes for almost double that. In it, you play a flying projection of a samurai's head and have to fight the evil alien Darkseid, who turned everyone into a zombie? So his new zombie army is standing in your way, and you have to unleash your powers to purge them of the evil spirits, and as you can see, this was already a really weird game to begin with. So how can we possibly make this game any weirder? Well, let's make it about Tronald Dump. Did I say that right? I figured it was time to talk about this game since he's going to be voted out of office very soon. But then again, chaos does rule supreme and the end of the world is nigh, so you know what, I could look pretty foolish not too long from now. But seriously guys, get rid of him. The story is that Donald Trump is now the president of the United States, and the fake news media is attacking him by quoting the words that he's saying. And so it's up to Donald to storm through CNN and the Dems to uproot the deep conspiracy to witch hunt him out of all the power, using the greatest power he has, Twitter, or something like that. Honestly, it's hard for me to make this game any funnier than it is, because the way it's presented is kind of perfect. It doesn't try too hard to wink wink, nudge nudge at you constantly. It's presented very matter-of-factly and might even be taken completely seriously by the particularly gullible. Those who are easily conned, one might say. Zombie Nation wasn't known for being the most beautiful game on the NES. In fact, sometimes it was downright hideous. And since Fake News Covfefe pretty much looks the same, it's not a great looking game. That's not 100% true though. I mean, I like those clouds. I think they look kind of cool. The samurai head is replaced with Doofy Don's head, and he shoots little money blasts and Twitter bombs, though for some reason my version's blasts don't look like the Twitter symbol. I compared my footage to other videos of this game, and it seems like I might have an incomplete version. The intros and the Don head are perfect, but you can see here he's supposed to be shooting dollar signs and tweets to destroy everything, but it actually still has the original Zombie Nation assets at play here. I'm still shooting what looks like eyeballs and lips. And down at the bottom is one of the biggest disappointments. I still have the head from Zombie Nation down here. But while you can clearly see that instead of a head and skulls, we have elephants being depleted and replaced with Democrat donkeys. Lame. I contacted the site I bought the cartridge at and explained the discrepancy, and they looked into it, actually contacting one of the guys who made the hack. Apparently this is the latest and most complete version of the hack, so the one with the completed assets was actually changed since then. Perhaps it was a less stable version and was prone to crashes. Or maybe it's a radical left conspiracy spearheaded by none other than Hunter Biden and AOC. Both are equally plausible. Regardless, it loses some of its charm without all of the assets changed. Now, I'm not 100% sure about all this, but the version with the more completed assets is out there. I don't have it, but I do have the one with this artwork that's inspired by Streets of Rage 2, and I do quite like it. There is a version with more completed assets that I saw on a YouTube channel called Hard for Games, and the artwork looks kind of like this, more like Don's Art of the Deal book. But I don't know for sure if that is the version that has these completed assets or not. I don't really know exactly what belongs to what. If you have any more information on it, please let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear from you. Anyway, as you play, you blast buildings and tanks along the way, and one of the more abrasive visuals are the explosions in the buildings. It's just a big block of fire, and it looks awkward when blended with intact parts of the building, though the animation in and of itself is pretty good. The music, on the other hand, is great for the NES. There are some great chiptunes throughout the whole game. The very first level is super intense, and the soundtrack carries a real eeriness all throughout. Sometimes a bit shrill, but that often was the case to some extent on NES soundtracks. On the less appealing side, there are the sound effects, however. Most of them are fitting, like most of the explosions, but the shriek when you blast a human is pretty high-pitched, and not really what I would think of when I imagine a human being blasted by a giant head. But hey, I guess it's all part of what helps make this game so weird. At its core, Fake News Covfefe is a shooter. It's a bit of an odd-looking one, but you fly to the right and shoot, so it counts. Each blast gives you a shot that blasts forward and one that arcs downward. It's going to look like pure chaos and not make any sense at all if you go into this game blind. As much as I appreciate the jump in and figure it out approach, this game is not the most intuitive. So you need to pay attention to everything at the bottom of your screen. First thing to know, you should just wreak as much havoc as possible to the fake news media because everything you destroy gets you points. Unlike many games, these points aren't just here for personal satisfaction. You will get health for every 10,000 points you earn. For a shooter, it's actually a pretty forgiving game. Thankfully, there are no one-hit kills, but rather all these heads and, I guess, elephants at the bottom represent your life bar. You can take several hits per head, but don't get cocky. Your health can take a turn for the worse in no time. In fact, anytime you hit a sky beam, or lightning strike, or a pillar of smoke, whatever the case may be, you get sent down to a single head, so those obstacles are the most important to avoid. Every other projectile is much more forgiving. If and when you die, your head plummets to the ground and you yell, "Covfefe Mega!" Just like most shooters, success is in the upgrades. But the upgrade system also needs some explanation since it's not very intuitive. One might look at this bar and see it as a progress bar. The closer you are to the flag, the nearer you are to the end of the level. That's what I thought at first, but no. As you blast buildings and rocks and other things, little flailing humans go flying and slowly fall toward the ground. You must rescue them, and each one you get pushes this little running icon further. When the running man reaches the end, you increase your blasts. It's not an increase in power, but just adds more blasts per upgrade. Once you understand this system, you are good to go. Unfortunately, the instruction book doesn't help you with this information. It's more committed to the Donald Trump joke, which is fine. I just had to read up on Zombie Nation online, and fortunately, a site explained the system to me. That's the beauty of the internet. I'm just paying it forward now. You're welcome. The review of Fake News Covfefe is pretty much also a review of Zombie Nation, since they play identically. This can just serve as a humorous alternative to the original game. And maybe this makes me a heathen, but I actually wound up enjoying this far more than other Repro Show alumni and shoot 'em up Gradius 2. While that one is a better made game, feels more polished and looks more finished, Zombie Nation is just more fun to play. You can get a whole lot further and play a lot longer without feeling burnt out and defeated. Some of the other regular shoot-'em-up traps are here, like when you die, you lose all your power-ups, but it's not so crippling that it makes you want to instantly restart. It feels more fair. It's still very challenging, and I will need to practice and get better if I'm going to beat the game, but it doesn't require the sheer persistence and mastery that games like Gradius and R-Type demand only to get part of the way in. And I really feel like the difference is those one-hit kills. I just cannot stand one-hit kills. If this game had them, it would probably be completely unplayable, especially since your sprite is so large here. Another benefit is that you can select your starting level. You don't always have to start at level 1. This means novices can experience different parts of the game and get better at future levels. It makes it all the more fair and fun. Though I will say that I got the best results by starting at level 1 and bringing my power-ups with me to future levels. But just to be clear, this is still very challenging. It just makes enough concessions that it's actually playable. The Donald Trump gimmick is just all icing on the cake. It just serves as a new face for an old game. It makes a game that was already kind of hilarious more current while maintaining the same level of sheer ridiculousness. But the meat and potatoes is all the same. Fake News Covfefe takes some time to get used to, but once you learn the game and how it works, it can be a fun and challenging playthrough. The Donald Trump element added to the original game adds some comedic flair and captures some of the absurdity of this strange time in history that we're in. It is definitely a fun novelty game for your repro collection. So in the end, I have to give Fake News Covfefe 3.5 out of 5 swollen Trump heads. That is a game worth playing. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Repro Review Show. We will see you next time.